Every shadow hides a story.
Daniel stood frozen in the dark room, his breath shallow, his pulse hammering in his ears. The whisper that spoke his name had come from nowhere, and yet it was close enough to feel warm against his skin. He backed toward the doorway, eyes straining to see in the dark. The silence pressed in on him like a weight. Then came another sound, faint, rhythmic, like footsteps, slow, dragging, moving down the hallway toward him. He bolted down the stairs, almost tripping over the creaking steps. When he reached the bottom, the front door swung shut by itself with a heavy thud. He grabbed the handle and pulled, but it wouldn't move. It felt as though someone was holding it from the other side. "Let me out," he shouted, voice shaking. No answer, only the low groan of the house settling. Then, in the corner of the room, something glinted in the faint moonlight. A small silver locket lay on the dusty floorboards. He picked it up. Inside was a faded picture. A little girl with short hair and a white dress. The same dress as the doll upstairs. Beneath her picture, in shaky handwriting, with the words Evelyn-1987, Daniel's stomach turned. The year matched the festival poster he had seen earlier. He turned the locket over and noticed something carved on the back. "We'll come back for you." Suddenly the floor creaked behind him. He turned, nothing there, just shadows, thick and silent. He ran to the window, trying to see outside. But the fog was thicker now. It rolled in waves, swallowing the street, the houses, even the light from his car's headlights. He couldn't see more than a few feet ahead. The radio from the store began to crackle again, faint, distant. A low static hum drifted through the air, as if carried by the fog itself. Daniel stepped outside. The sound grew louder. He followed it through the empty street, boots splashing through puddles. Every door he passed was open, every window broken. It felt like the whole village had stopped breathing. He found himself standing before the church. Its wooden doors hung open, one of them swinging slowly. The sound was coming from inside. He took a deep breath and stepped in. The air was colder here. Dust hung in thick layers across the pews. A dozen candles had melted into puddles of wax on the altar, long dead. The radio sat there, covered in cobwebs, still crackling faintly. He reached toward it, and the sound cut out. A whisper followed. "You left us here." Daniel froze. The whisper came from the pews behind him. He turned slowly. In the dark rows of benches, faint outlines began to appear. People, or the shapes of people, sitting perfectly still. Their faces were pale, features blurred as if hidden behind mist. He whispered, "Who are you?" A woman's voice answered from the shadows. Soft, distant, broken. "You promised to come back." Daniel's throat went dry. "I don't know you," he said, his voice trembling. The shapes leaned forward in unison, their heads tilting slightly, movements slow and unnatural. "You remember," they whispered together, "you were one of us." Daniel shook his head. "No, I wasn't." The whisper rose to a low hiss. The shadows began to move closer, sliding between the pews, their feet never touching the ground. Their eyes glowed faintly, like fading embers. Daniel stumbled backward, knocking over a bench. The radio flared to life again, screaming static so loud it made him cover his ears. Through the noise came words, sharp and broken. "You came back to finish what you started." The church doors slammed shut. The candles flickered to life by themselves, casting long, distorted shadows across the walls. On the altar behind the radio, he saw something carved into the wood, the same words as before. "Welcome back, Daniel." He backed away toward the doors, trying to pull them open, but they wouldn't budge. Behind him, the whispering grew louder, dozens of voices overlapping, crying, laughing, whispering his name over and over. He kicked the doors hard, once, twice, then suddenly, they gave way. He stumbled outside into the fog. The air hit him like ice. The church bells began to ring, slow, uneven, as if struck by invisible hands. Daniel ran down the street, heart pounding. The fog was thicker than ever. He couldn't see where he was going, only the faint outlines of buildings. Then, ahead, he saw movement, a flicker of light, a single house with a lantern burning in the window. He ran toward it, desperate for shelter, for answers, for anything that wasn't whispering his name. When he reached the porch, the door opened slowly on its own, as if inviting him in. A soft voice drifted out, the same voice from his dreams. "Daniel, you're late." He stepped inside, and the door closed behind him. The house was warm, a fire burned in the fireplace. The smell of burning wood mixed with something sweet, lavender, maybe. On the table sat 2 cups of tea, steam curling into the air. And sitting across the table was a woman. Pale skin, dark hair, eyes that looked familiar. She smiled softly. "I waited," she said. All these years. Daniel stared at her, his voice barely a whisper. "Who are you?" Her smile faded just a little. "You don't remember me, do you?" He shook his head slowly. She looked down at the cup in her hands. "Then maybe it's time to show you what you left behind." The fire crackled. The fog outside pressed against the windows like something alive. Daniel felt the floor tremble beneath his feet. The walls around him began to fade, the air thickening with a low hum. The woman's face began to blur, melting into shadow, then everything went black. Daniel's story isn't over yet. The truth still waits in the dark. He thought he escaped, but some doors never close. Don't forget to watch part 3, only on my YouTube channel. And remember, the whisper never stops. Subscribe and keep the darkness close.